Tonight on NewsVision, the city of Coral Gables is now working with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. We'll tell you what this means for the local police department.
Well, if anything, it's going to be an extra layer of protection to our community.
Plus, the neighborhood of Wynwood in Miami is known for its beautiful murals, but now some of the artists who create those may have to leave the area. We will tell you why. And later on, we'll take you live to Mark Lite Field to preview the rivalry between the Hurricanes and FSU in the baseball series this weekend.
You come to University of Miami for games like this.
All of this and more on tonight's program, and it starts right now. Good evening and welcome to NewsVision. I'm Gavin Bishow.
And I'm Kayla Butter. Thank you for joining us. As the Trump administration works to crack down on illegal immigration across the U.S., cities across the state of Florida have followed suit. Last week, the Coral Gables Police Department signed a controversial agreement with ICE that has upset many community advocates. The city of Coral Gables has signed into an agreement with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, which allows trained officers to enforce certain federal immigration laws. The agreement is under the 287G program, which is a part of new immigration laws that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed in February to aid President Trump in his mass deportation efforts. The program requires several officers be trained to perform the duties of an ICE officer and serve on an immigration enforcement task force.
Well, if anything, it's going to be an extra layer of protection to our community, to our residents here.
But community advocates argue that local officers have no place in immigration enforcement.
Police officers become police officers to be police officers. If they wanted to be immigration enforcement officials, they would become immigration enforcement officials.
Those who oppose the agreement fear that programs like this will lead to racial profiling.
Are there going to be instances where someone's going to say, that person looks, Mexican or Central American or, whatever, like, let me ask for their immigration status? Yes. And in some cases, those people are going to be U.S. citizens, and in some cases, they are going to be detained.
But the Coral Gables Police Department says that the agreement will not change the way they police.
This memo of understanding that we have with ICE will in no part go against those who are victims of crimes, who are witnesses to crimes, who report a crime.
The new program does not mandate local police departments enter these agreements.
Are they legally required to turn their community police officers into a show me your papers patrol? No, they're not.
But despite that, all 67 counties in the state have entered the agreement, making Florida the only state with all counties cooperating. The Coral Gables City Commission Department denied to comment on the issue, but at a city commission meeting last week, Coral Gables Mayor Vince Lago backed the agreement, emphasizing that the agreement is focused only on individuals with criminal backgrounds.
Hello and welcome to Coast, bringing you news from across the United States. I'm Andres Jaime Mendez.
And I'm Emma Balleste. Over the weekend, the Trump administration invoked wartime powers to deport hundreds of alleged members of a Venezuelan gang to El Salvador.
After a lawsuit was filed, a federal judge ordered the administration to turn around planes carrying anyone being deported under the Alien Enemies Act.
But flights continued to their destinations despite that court order. Trump has invoked the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, a little-known law that gives the president tremendous authority to target and quickly deport migrants. The measure, used only 3 times, all during major wars, is tied to what Trump described as an invasion of criminals.
These are criminals, many criminals, murderers, drug dealers at the highest level, drug lords, people from mental institutions. That's an invasion. They invaded our country. So this isn't, in that sense, this is war.
The move was immediately challenged in court. The controversy unfolded in only hours. On Saturday afternoon, a federal district judge held a hearing over the use of the Alien Enemies Act. The hearing was briefly adjourned for the government to collect more information. In that time, 2 removal flights took off to El Salvador, which has agreed to take in Venezuelan migrants. The judge verbally told the Justice Department to turn around any planes carrying people being deported under the Alien Enemies Act. A written court order came in an hour and 20 minutes later.
By the time the other order came, the plane was already over international waters with a plane full of terrorists and significant public safety threats. The president did was exactly the right thing.
Trump's primary target is the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, which was recently designated a foreign terrorist organization by the administration. More than half of the 261 migrants expelled to El Salvador were done under the Wartime Authority, according to a senior administration official. The administration has not provided identities of those removed.
The law says explicitly it may only be used against a foreign government or a foreign nation when we are in a declared war with that foreign government or that foreign government is invading us. This gang is not invading, so in our view, there is no question that this administration is just thumbing their nose at Congress.
A court hearing on the matter was held Monday where the federal judge scolded the Department of Justice.
The judge demanded by Tuesday afternoon that the Trump administration give specific timelines of the deportation flights and explain why they continued after they were ordered to turn around.
Meanwhile, the Democratic Party is facing pushback, but not from the courts, it's from voters.
A new CNN poll shows that only 29% of voters view the party positively. That's the lowest rating since the early 1990s.
Part of the reason for the low ratings is disapproval of the Democratic apathy against the GOP.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer crossed the aisle to move a Republican-written spending bill to avoid a government shutdown.
I think there's a lot of discontent with the Democratic leadership, and I think with the entire Democratic Party.
Around the country, many Americans are also voicing their frustrations with the Republican Party, which only got 36% of support in that same CNN poll.
And some Americans are expressing their outrage towards the town halls across the nation held by Republican and Democratic members of Congress.
So bizarre to me how obsessed you are with federal government, but here's the thing. Calm down.
That is all the time we have for now.
Coast to Coast will be back next week with your national updates.
Thank you, Emma and Andres. More than 500,000 Venezuelans across the U.S. will lose their temporary protected status shields on April 7th. That's less than 3 weeks from now. Many in South Florida are uncertain if they'll be able to stay in the U.S. And Darrel Creary tells us how some are pushing back.
Temporary Protected Status, or TPS, is a type of government protection given to immigrants coming from countries with difficult living conditions. Over 600,000 Venezuelans living in the United States have TPS. Across Miami-Dade, many fear the risk of deportation now that the extension was repealed and won't be eligible for renewal. For many Venezuelans living in the U.S., escaping the communist dictatorship of Nicolas Maduro was the only means for survival.
The fear is palpable. It echoes in our schools, it chills the sacred spaces of our houses of worship, and it disrupts the safety and productivity of our workplaces.
It is vile, and it's meant to justify their deportation to a dictatorship that they barely escaped. Or worse, to Guantanamo. Trump betrayed us.
In February, Democratic leaders held a presser at Miami City Hall to push for a call to action. Many residents are calling for lawmakers to extend TPS protections.
Behind me now is one of these protests happening here at the Torch of Friendship on 401 Biscayne Boulevard. The Torch of Friendship is famously one of the most historic sites in Miami, representing the union between immigrants and U.S. citizens. Now, they're here together to represent their protest against the Trump administration over what they say feels like a betrayal.
The Trump administration argues that the Biden-era extension created a magnet for illegal immigration. 7 Venezuelans are pushing back by leading a class action lawsuit against the Trump administration for revoking TPS status, a decision they say is illegal.
One is the fact that nobody wants to go against what the administration is doing, particularly on the Republican side. Venezuelans are now the victims of another political game.
The National TPS Alliance is helping activists like Cecilia push forward this suit in hopes of swaying the decision of the current administration. Some lawmakers are weighing in. Democratic Chairwoman Laura Kelly, an immigration lawyer, says the decision violates the Fifth Amendment Equal Protection Clause, which protects individuals from subjective government discrimination. She says the next steps will fall on a federal judge to issue an injunction to prevent TPS recipients from losing their legal status.
That was Darrel Creary reporting. And speaking of protests against Trump's executive orders on mass deportations, residents in the Florida city of Homestead protested back in early February. The demonstration was advertised by an Instagram account called Homestead Protest, but that account was taken down soon after the protest ended. The account is now back up, and activists are planning another protest tomorrow afternoon at the Losner Park in the historic district of Homestead. Next week, we will share why local residents are taking the streets yet again.
The U.S. Agency for Global Media has terminated funding for Radio Free Europe Radio Liberty under the Trump administration. In response, the entity has filed a lawsuit against the agency alleging the funding cut violates federal laws and the U.S. Constitution, which grants Congress authority to scrap the funds. The Global Broadcast Network is seeking urgent relief as the lack of access to federal funding means Radio Free Europe Radio Liberty will soon be forced to close its doors.
Just 3 months into 2025, and the number of confirmed measles cases in the United States has surpassed the total number of cases in the country for all of last year. According to the Centers for Disease Control, there have been 321 confirmed cases in the first 3 months of 2025, compared to the 285 cases throughout the whole 2024. In the state of Florida, the only reported case of measles so far is a student at Palmetto Senior High School in Miami, but cases across the country are continuing to rise, especially in Texas, with 279 cases reported so far. And while health officials say the MMR vaccine can prevent measles, vaccination rates continue to decline.
What this tells us is if more people were vaccinated, we would not be seeing a resurgence of measles in the United States today.
Can take up to 3 weeks to develop and can cause serious health problems and even death, especially for young, unvaccinated children.
The driver involved in the car crash on the MacArthur Causeway that killed one FIU student in late February is now facing DUI manslaughter charges. Investigators say 24-year-old Nicholas Robinson was speeding over 100 miles per hour while under the influence. He has been charged with DUI manslaughter, vehicular homicide, and reckless driving after the crash that killed Gabriela Rios. The suit says he hit her Jeep that was pulled over on the shoulder of the causeway. Robinson has entered a not guilty plea and remains at the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Center without bond as he awaits for his trial.
A massive brush fire in southern Miami-Dade County has burned more than 22,000 acres with only 20% containment. The fire has led to intermittent closures of the main road to the Florida Keys, Highway US 1, and has shut down the only alternative road entirely. A red flag warning is in effect as dry, windy conditions fuel the flames. Helicopters are making water drops as firefighters battle the flames near Homestead. Thick smoke is reducing visibility and making travel dangerous, forcing road closures to the Florida Keys. Firefighters are working around the clock to contain the fire, but with gusty winds and dry air, conditions remain critical. No structures are currently threatened. And student meteorologist William DePaola joins us now to update us on the fire and to give us the forecast. William?
Thanks, Kayla. As we look outside right now, it's actually pretty toasty here. Looking at 78 degrees here in the Miami area. A little bit warmer up in West Palm Beach. They're at 81. Here on the west coast of Florida, though, they're a little bit cooler in the mid-70s. Now with this great weather, however, we see much of Florida is in a drought. We see this moderate drought here on the west coast. But here in the Miami area, as we zoom in, that is a severe drought. Now this is because we are looking at below average rainfall for this time of year. We see we're a little bit over 3.5 inches below average here in Miami. West Palm Beach, they're almost 5 inches below average. Now with this lack of rain, we see that the National Weather Service has gone ahead and issued a critical fire outlook for us here in Miami. Now this extends all the way up into northern Florida, up by Orlando. With this, there's also a red flag warning for these same areas. Now this just means that if there are any fires that do manage to start, that just means they could potentially spread uncontrollably. And if this does happen, that could cause issues. Now, there is that one fire in southern Miami-Dade County. We see that smoke was impacting us here in the Miami area earlier today. Luckily, as we push throughout the night, that is going to push off into the Atlantic. And then luckily, we see this front that's going to be moving through. And with that, the wind direction is going to shift and push that fire out of the Miami area, so we will not be dealing with any smoke. And unfortunately, as we look at our next 7 days, we do not see any rain chances until Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, and even at that, it's only 25%.
Thanks, William. It's Haitian Culture Week here on campus, and after a week of celebrations, we'll take you live to their showcase after the break. That and a lot more just ahead.
I don't think that many kids in my son's school even do it.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No way, my kid would never vape.
Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org.
Thanks for staying with NewsVision. While Miami Beach spring break is rolling on, one free-flowing exhibit shines a light on the pivotal role that Miami Beach played in World War II. On display at Loomis Park is Boot Camp in Paradise. It is a collection of 30 info panels that show photos and other printed materials from when Miami Beach was transformed into a training ground for U.S. troops preparing for combat. In 1942, the Miami Beach government leased various properties to the U.S. Department of War. Ballrooms, theaters, and stores were all repurposed as classrooms for military use, while restaurants on the island were turned into mess halls. Troops replaced beachgoers as the shore served as a vital training ground, and many veterans returned to Miami Beach after the war. The exhibit opened on Veterans Day of last year and will close on March 31st.
Popular neighborhood Wynwood is known for its vibrant street art and graffiti, but as the area grows, so do challenges that many artists face. Here's Emma Balleste with more.
Miami artist Patty Moncluse came to the United States from Colombia to follow her dreams and attend art school.
One of the reasons that I came here is because I saw the opportunity to have a career as an artist here more than I did over there. So for me, it's like, well, you know, Miami has been great to me.
But despite the fact that Patty graduated from the famous New World School of the Arts, there have been some challenges along the way.
I feel like rent is so expensive.
Patty's studio's in the Miami neighborhood of Wynwood. That is now known as an outdoor art museum known for its graffiti. Graffiti, which was once considered rebellious, is now a key part of Miami's art scene and tourism. What started off as street art has now become a cultural staple for the city, driving development, essentially reshaping the city's identity. Over the past couple of decades, Wynwood has become one of Miami's most popular cultural landmarks, but that fame has come with a price.
There's a lot of graffiti, and then the businesses start coming in, and then people want to own land, and kind of like gentrification a little bit. And then the artists leave because they can't afford it. And then where they go, the development happens again. So
I've seen that when things are getting planned out, whether it's a building that's going up or when someone's opening a business, they always have in mind the mural or the wall, or how are they going to market this in a street art way.
Many businesses use the street art for personal marketing profits, but they overlook the challenges that the artists face. With most artists unable to afford rent, some are forced to leave the neighborhood that they have helped define. But some local businesses in Wynwood are making efforts to help these artists.
What we do is provide them not only affordable studios, but a smart and talented peer community, both professional and creative development opportunities. But we believe that if they can free themselves of worrying about where they're going to get up to work every day, are they going to be displaced or relocated, then that allows a lot of bandwidth in their brains and creative practices to think about their work.
And Patty is grateful to her mentor, Kathy, and the opportunities she has been given.
I'm sure that other folks might be able to answer that in a more critical way, because I'm sure that there's things that can be done better, but from my perspective, I'm pretty blessed.
For UMTV, I'm Emma Balleste.
All this week, the University of Miami's Haitian organization called Planet Creole has been celebrating Haitian culture here on campus. Johnny Mushkin is live at the Shalala Ballroom, where the final Haitian culture event of the week is underway. Johnny, what can you tell us?
Hey guys, what's going on? Yeah, I'm here at the Shalala Ballroom Center where the next Miss Planet Creole is about to be announced. Now, there are going to be 2 first-timers in this organization's annual pageant this year. And there's been a ton of excitement within the Haitian community down here at the University of Miami throughout the entire week, especially since that this has been Planet Creole's annual Haitian Culture Week. Planet Creole's annual Haitian Culture Week remains one of the only times that Haitian culture is at a full display for all University of Miami students to enjoy all the music, the art, and the food of Haiti.
So on campus, there are a lot of students that are Haitian, and we are trying to, reach out to them, get to them, and it's quite unfortunate because some people, they feel like that are of Haitian descent don't feel quote-unquote Haitian enough, and it's quite unfortunate. And I think what Planet Creole is trying to do is making them have a space for them to, a little home away from home.
The event this year included a traditional Caribbean mac and cheese sale, as well as a Haitian art gallery at the Lakeside Expo. The gallery featured various artworks sent in directly by Haitian artists, all determined to show the beauty in traditional Creole design.
This year I wanted to be able to kind of bring the Miami, like the Haitian Miami aspect to UM through art, as well as kind of bringing something fresh and new to University of Miami, especially to PK as well, just because we kind of do the same things sometimes, so I just wanted to do something different with my platform.
And while all these events are featuring Haitian culture specifically, the audience Planet Creole is trying to reach is a much more diverse one.
The whole premise of what Planet Creole is for is to really celebrate Haitian culture, and that doesn't have a color to it, that doesn't have a language to it, no ethnicity to it, it's just people.
Now the pageant here at Shalala, it's going to be the final event of a very long week of the Miami Hurricanes and Planet Creole celebrating Haitian culture all week long. And while the previous events were impressive, if you take a look behind me, you can tell that they really stepped it up a notch, folks. We're having a lot of fun right here. Now, while many events have changed over the years with PK's Full Tour Week, the pageant here has been going strong for over a decade here at the University of Miami. And tonight, the former Miss Planet Creole will award the new winner right here on the Coral Gables campus. So it's going to be a lot of great stuff. The organization hopes for a really big crowd coming in today to celebrate what has been such an incredible week here for Planet Creole and for the University of Miami. So reporting for UMTV here at the Shalala Ballroom Center, I'm Johnny Mushton.
Thank you, Johnny. Time for another short break now, but when we return, we will join Taryn Jacobs live at Mark Lite Field for a breakdown of the Canes' upcoming season against FSU. Stay with us.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at Finish Your...
Welcome to sports. I'm Taryn Jacobs. Canes baseball got their season rolling 1 month ago, and it's been a rocky start. The team has dropped their past 3 series in several midweek games. The Canes played their first AC series last weekend against Wake Forest, losing all 3 games. But they were able to bounce back on Tuesday in a redemption game against FAU, coming out on top with a score of 6-5. However, this is not to say that there is no bright spots for the team. The team chemistry is a work in progress as the roster has 28 new faces, but many of the newcomers have made their impact felt. One being pitcher Griffin Ugis, who sits at number 7 in the ACC for strikeouts, and Jake Ogden, who leads the Canes in 5 different offensive categories. In the first 21 games of the season, Miami has 13 wins and 9 losses. On the road, they are 2-7, but at home, they are 10-2. This weekend's series against FSU will be Miami's first real test at Mark Lite Field. The Miami-FSU rivalry reigns strong through all sports, and for Canes baseball, it's the series they look forward to every season. Last season, Florida State swept their series on their home turf, but the last time the storied matchup was at Mark Lite Field, the Canes brought out the brooms. And while the outcome of the series always means a lot, the players cherish the chance to be a part of something so great.
You come to University of Miami for games like this, right? Games where you got a great opponent, you got a great opportunity, and you got a great opportunity to show the world what you're about. And that's the coolest part about playing in a big program and playing with against a big opponent. And it's a moment that you'll never forget.
The series history dates back to 1951, and since then, FSU holds the crown with 162 wins to Miami's 136. This weekend, the number 5 ranked Seminoles return to the 305 and will give Miami a true test of talent. Miami's bullpen will need to put out strong performances to keep them in these games. And no home baseball series would be complete without the famous Mark Lite milkshake. Each series, a specialty milkshake is introduced, but in honor of Rivalry Week this weekend, it's a showdown between 2 previous milkshakes. This weekend, the cannoli and the snickerdoodle shakes are being sold at Mark Lite, and whichever one is sold the most will stay on the menu. I was able to get a taste of the snickerdoodle one when UConn was in town, but missed out on the cannoli one with Princeton. Today's the day for me to try it. Now I'm gonna have to go with the snickerdoodle one here, but the crowd will decide which one is the true winner. And one more fun thing for those in the stands, it's Category 5 night tonight, and Miami Student Spirit Group is giving away some awesome shirts. It's definitely an exciting night at Mark Lite, so make sure you stop by after the show to check it out. And as baseball season is ramping up, March Madness is finally here. Both Canes basketball teams are not in the tournament, but let's take a look at the results from the games so far. Looking at the first 6 games of the tournament from earlier today, there's only been one upset. That is McNeese State, the 12 seed, beating Clemson, the 5 seed, by a mere 2 points, 69 to 67. And if you look at the scoreboard there, all the higher seeds had won the games as expected by almost 20 points or more. Well, it's definitely a big month for college baseball and basketball, but that's all for sports. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Taryn. And why don't you bring that snickerdoodle milkshake while you're at it? Well, it's okay if not, but still ahead, 2 American astronauts have made their long-awaited return home here on the Florida Space Coast. We will tell you more in just a moment.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
After-school sport programs can be a great way for kids to stay active and healthy, but one South Florida organization is turning soccer practice into a platform for personal growth. Max Keller went to see it in action.
Soccer is the most popular sport on the planet, but it's the small moments of the game that teach us life lessons. FCC stands for Fútbol con Corazón, translating to soccer with heart. It's a South Florida organization that uses the sport to prevent and solve the world's problems. The coaches at FCC are focused on helping kids improve their skills on the pitch while teaching them emotional and social skills.
So always respect. It doesn't matter if it's inside the field or outside the field. I always tell them to show respect to the teachers, to each other, and most importantly to their coaches.
The 2-hour practices involve stretching as a team, individual drills, and a scrimmage at the end. During that time, the elementary and middle school students get to stay active while focusing on the game at hand.
It's like a space where your mind goes free. Your mind is just concentrated on one thing. You forget about everything else, and talking from experience, it's definitely been one of my safe spaces to be able to go to forget about anything that's happening at home or in school or with friends.
And the overall message is clear. Friends take care of friends.
I like to care for everyone, even if they fall or get injured really badly or they need water. I will care for them.
The 10-to-1 player-to-coach ratio helps make each player feel special. And after a fun day of practice, the scoreboard shouldn't count points, but instead, smiles. Max Keller, UMTV.
And finally, 2 NASA astronauts, Sunny Williams and Butch Wilmore, have finally returned to Earth after spending 9 months in space. Williams and Wilmore launched into space last June to the International Space Station on a mission that was only supposed to last 8 days. But because of technical issues with Boeing's Starliner spacecraft, their return was delayed multiple times. This Tuesday, SpaceX's Crew Dragon capsule safely brought them home. NASA said that Williams and Wilmore are both in good health and are looking forward to reuniting with their friends and family.
Well, that's all the time that we have here tonight for this week's edition of NewsVision.
Make sure to join us next week. Have a good night.